Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is West Productions 100 here, bringing you a super random live stream. Yay! So yeah, I got off of work like hours ago, like around 5 o'clock, uh, my time, and basically I haven't done a whole lot. Uh, you know, can't really do a whole lot when you only had a couple hours to do anything. Um, this past weekend, I meant to do some video uploading here on West Productions 100 channel, but I just never got around to it. I was with friends and stuff like that, and it didn't. I didn't think to actually really do any videos with them. So yeah, maybe I'll do them in the future or something like that. But for right now, I just didn't really feel like it at the time. And then the weekend ends, and I'm just like, oh shit, like back to work, and a lot less time for this kind of stuff. So yeah, but it's all good. It's all good. So I'm doing it right now. I'm free to comment. Um, shit it says your connection's unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. Oh god, that's lovely. That's very lovely right there. Um, okay, share this. 25 Flower asks, describe your crush. Cherry Blossom, do you believe in love at first sight? Daisy, what's your best childhood memory? What? Okay. Iris, favorite 90s song? Wait, I was talking. Sunflower, Sun or Moon, Narcissus, your best physical feature. Felicia, are you still friends with the person you considered your best friend 2 years ago? Why would these followers ask these questions? Why? Let's go over to red carnation. Let's go to carnation. Does true love exist? What is it? I'm very clueless about flowers, obviously, because none of that makes any sense to me. Let's try a flower that maybe I can understand. Well, I mean, sunflower, sun or moon. Is it because the outside of the sunflower, the yellow parts, remind us of a sun, but then the inner part is darker, so we're not sure if it's a moon or if it's a sun. Is that what that's implying there? Well, also kind of sucks that you guys can't see it. I don't fully know how to even do that kind of stuff. I should learn, but yeah, I don't know how to do that stuff. Let's actually let's watch the video. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. I got a video here from Alien Theory. I've recently, over the past week and a half, 2 weeks, I've gone into all these alien videos. I've been binge watching from this one YouTube channel called Alien Theory, referring to the xenomorph aliens. I first came across the channel because of these like audio narration audio books of these alien comic books from, like, I think it was like the late 80s, the Earth War and stuff like that, referring to the xenomorph aliens like taking over the Earth and stuff like that. Yeah, so and then it just led off from there. So I just came across this video from him called "What if the alien never got aboard the Nostromo?" Which is referring to the ship in the first Alien movie by Ridley Scott. I think it was back in either, I can't remember the exact year. I know it was late 70s. It was either 76 or 79, 1979 or 1976. I'm not too sure. I could look it up. Sure, why the fuck not? Look up Alien. See what pops up. 1979. Okay, yeah, it was 1979, which is actually Alien's actually a really good fucking movie too. I am not a big fan of horror movies. I usually don't like to watch horror movies, but there are a few horror movies that I really like, and they include The Shining. I really love The Shining from Stanley Kubrick, and I really love Alien. I love Alien because I love science fiction movies, and Alien just has all these great elements of sci-fi, and the horror aspect is just really good too. Like, it just fits so well together, I think. And like, I think it's just really cool because like I think up until that point in 1979, horror, the genre of horror and the genre of sci-fi never really had much in common. There was never really a big crossover as far as I know. Maybe there was, but I think Alien, the first Alien movie, was really like the movie that brought it out there. I think what's also really cool is that franchise Alien shows you that you can make a movie and then the sequel to that movie can be a completely different genre. So Alien, the first one I'm about to watch this video on, was a horror movie. It was a science fiction movie. Aliens, which was directed by James Cameron, was an action science fiction movie. There was definitely those elements of horror, of thrillerness in Aliens as well, but there was less of that compared to the first Alien movie. And I definitely like Aliens more than Alien, and it's part of my bias for action movies. I love action movies, so you know, I think I definitely feel like I gravitated more towards Aliens for that reason. But anyway, let's watch this video on the Nostromo.
One of the most crucial moments in Alien is when Ripley faces off with Dallas and Lambert over quarantine procedure after they return from the derelict ship with the facehugger attached to Kane.
Oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that. There was the arguments about like, bringing him onto the ship or not.
Dallas ordered that Ripley open the hatch immediately, but Ripley, seeing a potential threat, refused to comply. The company's quarantine procedure required 24 hours of observation and decontamination before letting in an unidentified, potentially dangerous organism. If I break quarantine, we could all die, was her reasoning. Foster's novelization goes into some further
and sadly she was right about that too.
Further details of Ripley's reasoning. She told Dallas, 24 hours for decontamination. You've both got more than enough suit air remaining to handle that, and we can feed you extra tanks if necessary. 24 hours won't prove conclusively that the thing's no longer dangerous either, but that's not my responsibility. I just have to enforce the rules. You know them as well as I do. Ash, of course, cut this standoff short by hitting the emergency override stud outside the lock, letting Dallas, Lambert, and Kane, with the organism attached, inside of the ship. Ash reasoned that he was following the captain's direct order, and also feigned compassion that Kane's life was at risk and it was an urgent situation. Ripley, who grew more and more suspicious of Ash, confronted him about his actions later and the potential, and eventually very real, danger he brought onto the crew by breaking quarantine laws. She also affirmed her command within that situation. When Dallas and Kane are off the ship, I'm senior officer. I'm acting commander until one or the other actually sets foot back inside. Lambert and Dallas, of course, were none too happy with Ripley's decision. The 2003 director's cut includes a scene where Lambert comes at Ripley in a rage, slapping her across the face.
That's pretty cool, actually. I didn't realize that was in a director's cut. I just assumed that was in the original theatrical cut as well. So that's actually pretty cool to see that. Yeah, definitely.
Until they're separated by Parker and Brett. Dallas also calls to Ripley on the intercom from inside the infirmary, stating, "Ripley, when I give an order, I expect to be obeyed." Ripley then asks in return, even if it's against the law, with Dallas replying, "You're goddamn right." It should also be noted that both Parker and Brett were in agreement with Ripley. Foster's novelization includes an interaction after Ripley and Lambert are separated from fighting. Parker defends Ripley's actions to Lambert, saying she was only following the rules. Who the hell knows what that thing is or what it can do? Kane's a little impulsive, sure, but he's no dummy, and he couldn't avoid it. Maybe one of us will be next. Brett agreed with Parker's argument by saying, "Right." Most would agree with Ripley and would feel her decision is reasonable given the circumstances and the laws in place and the lives of the rest of the crew at risk of contamination. Ripley was absolutely right, and the alien stowaway would go on to kill off the entire crew except for Ripley. In her own words, the thing managed to wipe out her entire crew in less than 24 hours.
That was pretty fucking crazy too, like how fast that thing grew, how fast they grow, how fast the xenomorphs grow. Like, it's fucking crazy. Like, in like less than 48 hours, it's fully grown. Like, holy shit. Like, that's fucking crazy. Well, actually, no, wait, that's not true. It's not fully grown, but it's reached a sort of maturity, but in such a short amount of time. Like, even if it isn't fully developed, it's almost there to that point. It's a remarkable shit. Like, how anything like that can grow so fast in such a short amount, less than, it's crazy.
So, what if quarantine was followed? What if, as a result, the alien never got aboard the Nostromo?
Yeah, I'm curious about this too. Let's find out what he has to speculate about here.
Say, for example, if opening the hatch required the corroboration of officers in order to override, Ripley certainly wouldn't agree to letting them in and would remain firm in her stance to follow quarantine. Maybe Ash, following the priorities of Special Order 937, would try to find some way to convince Ripley to break the quarantine. He would have made arguments that he used later to justify opening the hatch when confronted by Ripley. The novelization expands on these justifications, which alternatively could have been made as pleas to agree to open the hatch.
He says novelization, so is there a book version of Aliens? Of Alien. I'm wondering if that came out first or not, but let's see. Maybe I missed it.
Ash was firm in believing that Dallas's order was completely valid and that it required compliance. Ash argued that the captain's the captain, and the fact that he was 1 meter outside the corridor instead of inside isn't reason enough for me to start ignoring his decisions. He also outlined the severity of Kane's health and how immediate medical assistance was needed. What would you have done with Kane? His only chance to stay alive seemed to rest with getting him into the infirmary, where the autodoc could work on him as soon as possible. His condition has been stabilized. I'm inclined to give credit for that to the machine and its rapid treatment, the early application of antisepsis and intravenous feeding. He also appeals to Ripley's reverence of the quarantine procedure, weighing it against the moral responsibility of letting a fellow crewmate die. Ash told her, "I'm aware of the rules regarding quarantine and alien life forms, probably more so than you. I had to balance them against a man's life. Maybe I should have let him die out there. Maybe I have jeopardized the rest of us. But I know one thing. Rule makers always draw up their precious rules and regulations in safety and comfort, not out in the field where those same absolutes are supposed to be applied. At those times, we have to rely on our own minds and feelings. That's what I did. I have already voluntarily entered..."
And his own gut and mind and feelings, whatever you want to describe it as, were, unfortunately for them, wrong.
My actions
Super wrong.
into the official log and will subject...
Of course, they would not have known any better. I mean, yeah. The characters would not have known any better. The ones that agreed to let him on board.
myself to whatever decision the company may make in that matter. Yes, it's my official position. Remember that the prime consideration of science is the protection and betterment of human life. I would never contravene that. Knowing Ripley, these appeals still wouldn't work, as convincing as Ash was in displaying humanity. She would still perceive the risk to be too high, wouldn't agree to break quarantine. At some point, eventually, Ash may have used force against Ripley just as he does in the film, and likely Parker and Brett would be around to back her up, and Ash would be destroyed. In the film, Ash was reassembled to see if there's any way to kill the alien, so in this scenario, he probably wouldn't be interrogated, and they would probably accept it as a severe malfunction. But that still leaves 3 of the crew.
Yeah, it was pretty freaky with Ash, how eager he was to try and experiment on the alien, or try to make an experiment out of the whole situation, for that matter. Yeah.
Outside the ship during a 24-hour quarantine. Even after the facehugger falls off and dies, Ripley would still insist on enforcing the full 24 hours, regardless. Kane would come to eventually, and things would start to look hopeful for a while, until, of course, the chest burster makes its way out of Kane. Would the newly born xenomorph hide? Would it attack Dallas and Lambert? Would they try to kill the alien using one of their weapons? Would it eventually grow large enough to take them both and bring them back to the space jockey, where they would serve as hosts to alien eggs waiting inside? Either way, they most definitely would not be getting back on the Nostromo. This would lead to a difficult discussion between Ripley, Parker, and Brett. Though Ripley is in charge, she'd want their input. At this point, repairs still needed to be made to the Nostromo, and once it was capable of taking off, would it be doing so while leaving behind or jettisoning quarantine. I think Ripley could make a fair enough argument that, realistically, Lambert and Dallas are as good as dead.
Yeah, I could see where that kind of point of view is coming from. If they have to make repairs to the Nostromo, I don't remember that at all. I thought the Nostromo was fine, but apparently he's saying it wasn't. And like again, these guys are the equivalent of like truck drivers, of like cargo ship personnel, or like some kind of like long distance delivery crew. They're not equipped to fight, you know, something like the xenomorph alien. They don't have powerful weaponry, you know. It would be like, yeah, it would be like a crew of truck drivers or a crew of cargo ship people going up against like, you know, a much more well-armed, much more sinister group of people or things, in this case with the alien. Yeah, I guess I can see this being like excuse me, I can see like an example being like crews of a cargo ship being taken hostage by like pirates, and like the other crew decides they can't really do much about it because they don't have the weapons or the equipment necessary to take them on, and they might have to make a difficult choice right there. That would be a sucky situation. But yeah, same thing here applies with the Nostromo and the alien. Like if the other people are taken hostage or kidnapped back to the alien ship to be used as breeding bodies for the other xenomorph aliens, then yeah, I can see Ripley and the other people who are still on board the ship making a difficult choice right there. Though it being a movie, they might actually go out and rescue them, or to try and make it like convenient to the plot somehow. Like, oh, they actually have weapons on board the ship, or you know, just because it's a movie, you know, like to have more drama in the movie and stuff like that. But yeah.
If they weren't to be attacked and killed by the thing, then for all Ripley and the rest knew, they could also be carrying parasites and not even know it. They'd ultimately agree to not taking any further risks and would take off and return to Earth.
I can sympathize with that.
Procedure was necessary following such an event.
It would suck.
Survivors, Ripley, Parker, and Brett would all report the same story of the organism on Kane's face and the malfunctioning android. No foul play, no laws broken. Company quarantine procedures followed to a T. The secret order they were following wouldn't have been fulfilled, and Special Order 937 would be a failure, but the Nostromo's data and the exact coordinates of the space jockey on LV-426 would now be in Weyland-Yutani's hands. The surviving Nostromo crew would probably have to sign non-disclosure agreements regarding their depositions, thanked for their work, and be on their way. Hell, they'd probably be promoted. First rights to a newly discovered organism, the coordinates
might be given like good compensation for that too, yeah.
Only 3 casualties? This would be a great bargain for the company. Ripley would be able to come home to Amanda just in time for her 11th birthday. She'd have kept her promise to her daughter. This, of course, was something that weighed heavy on Ripley's mind the entire time.
I didn't even think about that. I completely forget about that part of Alien. That she had an 11-year-old daughter, and her 11-year-old daughter was it was her birthday. I completely forgot about that part of Alien, because in Aliens she literally wakes up 57 years later from cryo sleep. What's this? If my trunk was that small, I wouldn't draw attention to myself, pal. Okay. Anyway.
The novel by Tim Levin explains that Amanda was very set to see her mom leave for such a long time. And before the Nostromo's mission, Ripley swore to Amanda she'd be home in time for her birthday, and that she'd get her, quote, the best present ever. Maybe she'd adopt Jonesy and bring Amanda home a new pet. Personally, I think Jonesy would be the best present ever, so who knows?
I like that cat. That cat was cool from the movie. That was a cool cat.
But for Ripley, there would be no...
Not sure if I need to really pause it just to say that.
She'd be able to return to as normal of a life and career as she originally intended, at least for some time. Ripley has always been a hero of circumstance. If these circumstances change, such as the scenario here, Ripley would be in no special position to prevent the xenomorph specimens from coming to Earth. This was Weyland-Yutani's intention all along, of course, and Ripley, unwittingly and unintentionally, would have helped them achieve this.
Yeah, true.
If the alien never got aboard the Nostromo, the company eventually would get access to the xenomorph specimens regardless. The very fact that the alien stowed away on the Nostromo and that Ripley was there
Yeah,
to
that was
destroy
crazy
it
that Weyland-Yutani
Weyland-Yutani's
was so
special
willing to
order
go out of
gave
their
specimen.
way.
The fact that Ripley also destroyed the Nostromo and the
Of course,
coordinates
they
of
didn't
the
know any
space
better.
jockey on
You know,
Mother's
they're
computer along with it
Weyland
hindered the
Yutani's
company in
management
knowing
doesn't
the
know any
coordinates
better.
of the space jockey, setting them back 57 years. With all evidence on the Nostromo wiped out, Weyland-Yutani opted to terraform, colonize, and survey LB-426, a process which took years and ultimately still depended on the deposition of Ellen Ripley in order to find the coordinates. Once the alien got on the Nostromo, Ripley's life changed forever, and she was destined to protect the world from the danger of the xenomorph. With that never happening, Weyland-Yutani would be able to send a well-financed expedition to the jockey and gather specimens. They'd follow their own procedures and bribe whoever they'd need to bribe at ICC quarantine, and would soon have xenomorph specimens at their bioweapons lab on Earth. The Weyland-Yutani report gives some insight as to what the company exactly wants and what their exact intentions are with the xenomorph.
Jeez.
It is believed that the specimens would lead to advances in pharmacology, bioengineering, and defense with the appropriate technology and studies. How long would they be able to contain these specimens? How many specimens would they gather, and how fast would they multiply? Your guess is as good as mine, but eventually containment would fail. If there's one certainty about the xenomorph, it's that it can't be locked away and contained.
Hey, Mystery Man, what's up? Doing good, doing good. I'm watching this video from Alien Theory called "What if the alien never got aboard the Nostromo?" He's talking about Alien from the very first Alien movie, directed by Ridley Scott, which is actually a really good movie. I suggest you check it out, and I definitely suggest you check out this YouTube channel as well. It's again called Alien Theory. He makes all sorts of videos on everything xenomorph alien related and stuff like that, and it's pretty cool shit. I think it's pretty cool stuff. If you've never seen the first Alien movie, like I said, I definitely suggest checking it out. And also check out that sequel, Aliens. Really good stuff. And yeah.
Can't be controlled.
Hope you're doing well too.
Eventually
Thank you for the
specimens would
comments.
escape captivity.
Deanna, I'm not really sure what else. I'm not really sure what you're talking about there.
In the
With
1988
it was
Aliens
Ice
comic
Age
series,
2002,
there
and
was
Go Ahead and
xenomorph
Follow the
outbreak
Crowd,
on
and
Earth, and
Mammy
wasn't
the.
pretty. For a
Oh
more
wait,
detailed
okay, I see. You're quoting a movie. Okay, you're quoting a movie there. Got it. I didn't realize you were quoting a movie there. I haven't seen Ice Age and those Ice Age animated movies in years. It's been a long time. Are they still making new Ice Age movies? That would be. I would be curious to check that out later.
Outline of what a xenomorph outbreak. In the 1988 Aliens comic series, there was a xenomorph outbreak on Earth, and it wasn't pretty. For a more detailed outline of what a xenomorph outbreak on Earth would look like, you can check out the video, The Xenomorph Outbreak on Earth, Accounts of the Earth War, on the end screen or in the description box. You can also check out the video, Weyland-Yutani's Intentions with Xenomorph XX121 for more details on the company's plans with their specimens. This video, of course, was just for fun, a what-if scenario, exploring what may have happened with Ripley, the Nostromo crew, and Weyland-Yutani if things went a little bit differently. Do you agree with this proposed scenario? Do you think
Yeah, I do actually. I agree with it for the most part. I think it's a very plausible scenario if they didn't allow the alien on board the ship. And I think the aftermath that you provide are also plausible. I think Weyland-Yutani would have tried, different approaches, and they wouldn't have given up on trying to get the alien xenomorph specimens and stuff like that. Possibly bringing out more danger in a shorter period of time.
things may have turned out in another way? Are there other what-if scenarios you'd like to see explored on?
So yeah, I'm going to take off, guys. But yeah, thank you very much for watching.